could be a little baby episode.
Yeah, you want to have a baby episode?
A little.
You want to have a baby?
Baby episode. A little tiny one that we can, it won't be as big as all the other episodes. It'll be a little baby episode.
Do you want a girl episode or a boy episode?
The thing is, with me, I don't care as long as it's a preemie. I'm the opposite of the parents who are like, boy or girl, we don't care, it's healthy. I'm always like, I just want it frail. Like Voldemort at the end of the movies when he's that little thing at the end.
That's exactly what I want. I want a little baby Voldemort. Yeah, Dobby. I want my baby to look like Dobby.
I don't care if it's a boy or a girl as long as it's Dobby.
Yeah, man.
You get the doctor to surgically make their ears pointy and stuff. You're like, totally. I don't care. I'm never going to check the gender. I just want to know if it's Dobby.
I just want it to be frail and be able to teleport. That's all I want. I want my baby to be 90 years old.
How fucked up is J.K. Rowling to make a slave character that can teleport but can't be free? He just,
totally.
until his master is just like, I guess you're free. Like that. Literally, that's all it takes.
Buddy, I think that's all the time about J.K. Rowling, how she's the real problem,
I don't know what it is, but she just makes me feel safe attacking women. No, you're right, dude. People do she says a lot of wild shit, but then it's
are we real? I don't know. I don't read the news, but for your arena.
Oh, you're off of Twitter, but she's wild on Twitter all the time.
But she's JK.
Dude, you can't take her seriously.
Yeah.
Is it possible she was just J and K?
She was JKing. Man.
The whole time.
Her name should be LOL Rowling, you know what I mean?
Fuck you. God damn it.
Fuck me? Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Oh, fuck you!
Dave, I'm excited to see you.
I'm excited to see you too. It's nice to see your face, and it's nice to see your Murder by Death shirt.
Thanks, man. Damn. How'd you can see that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. It's written on your shirt.
Sorry, I can't see myself in the thing, so
I
have no idea what kind of view you're getting.
Tell you what, man, it's a nice view.
I did take yeah.
Beautiful view.
You like the view?
I love the view. That's what I like about
I feel kind of odd about this. I feel kind of oddly sexualized now. Uncomfortably.
Why?
I don't know. It's something about the view.
I like your clean sock.
Guys, check out the YouTube of Y'all Ever, and you will see that I'm still putting a dirty sock on my microphone because there's too much fucking wind in here, dude. A lot of hot air in my studio. You know what I mean?
Windy den.
A little Chicago in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the Chicago City. That's what they call it.
Sometimes I get a little deep dish when I talk about
too much deep dish in this room. It's so windy.
Sometimes when I talk about suicide, I get a little deep dish. I gotta put a windsock in here. It's so windy.
Hey, by the way, you're listening to Y'all Ever. Thank you. Welcome. I'm Dave Ross.
Hi, I'm Hampton Young.
This is, a mental health comedy show. You get it, where we fucking read your stories and talk about how you're fine.
Dave. It's a podcast about mental health. Let's try one more time. It's a podcast about mental health. We try to talk about the only relatable things in life. It's relatable comedy that actually cuts a little bit deeper. That's right. We do that.
What did I say?
I think you said we're gonna solve all your problems.
Oh yeah.
I think you made a hard promise.
Yeah, you're all better now. Congratulations on listening to this show. You're good now. Sign up for our Patreon because you're better.
It's hard that people will write us and they'll have genuine questions. And I just have to always be like, I never said I have advice.
Oh yeah.
I have jokes and joke opinions, but I'm sorry. This is a mental health podcast, not a curing mental health comedy podcast. So that's where you went wrong.
I don't think I said that. Right?
What? Oh no, I know. Yeah, I know.
Oh
I
no.
think if you actually, Aristotle, if you could play back the record where Dave says,
I will cure you.
If you eat this podcast, it cures corona. Inject this podcast into your dick vein and let it go into your brain.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's important to say we are not professionals, mental health professionals. We can't cure you. All we can do is let you know that we've heard of that.
Y'all ever? I heard that.
Hell yeah.
Damn, dude.
No, I think that we have some things to offer with talking about it, but yeah, please go to therapy if you need help, if you're, in dire straits.
Yeah. How's the
80s bands.
I think a lot of people actually would like to know, because probably a lot of people were thinking about going to therapy before the quarantine and then are like, well, now it's just a computer screen. I mean, but can you give any insight to, like, I don't know. Is it good?
Yeah,
you do
good.
it. Do you like it? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, the thing with therapy is that it's like, it's so tough. Every person's different. Well, obviously every person's different, but when you're talking about how your brain works, then it's like really specific to you. And I'm lucky. I found a therapist. It took some looking, but I found a therapist who I work really well with, and I do the road. So I have done therapy over the phone before.
Oh,
never every week like this, but I've
did
done
you
it before.
Did you ever do the video screen?
Yeah, totally. Like one time, like one instance in particular, I freaked out one time while traveling, and I really needed to talk to someone, because normally I don't do therapy while I'm traveling. I just like wait till I get back. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years, so I'm comfortable taking weeks off. And I wasn't at the beginning, but I am now. So anyway, I had done it a couple times, the video chat therapy on the road. And also she and I have a rapport, and we kind of know what we're doing at this point. So it's great. I would imagine that it's difficult to start with a new therapist over video chat. However, I would also kind of guess that for a lot of people, it's better to start that way.
Really?
Yeah, because it's terrifying to start therapy. So if you get to at least be in your home, you could.
Oh, wow. I didn't even fucking think of that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Easily one of the most terrified thoughts, I had while starting therapy was I have to drive across town.
Yeah.
Like to go talk to somebody. It became like this, it's an appointment much more than just a thing you can do in your house.
Yeah.
I would have jumped on that. Damn.
Yeah, I think that for people with anxiety, I think for people specifically with a lot of anxiety about therapy, now is probably a great time to start. Because the other thing is that there's also enough of a wall up. Man, the more that I think about it, I wonder if this is how we should all start therapy. Because it takes a second to know if your therapist is right for you.
Yeah, that would save so much fucking time.
Totally. You just stay in your home.
Yeah, I don't like the vibe right away.
Totally.
It's easily
try out a few.
Yeah, it's like dating or something, real quick. And sometimes after like a couple sessions, but man, you tend to kind of read people's energy pretty quick.
Yeah.
The one I'd say advantage also of doing home is you can have a fleshlight while doing it. So that way it feels, I mean, you don't need a girl, you don't need a boyfriend or girlfriend. You just live at home.
Totally.
Damn.
So you can
you can be a total creep.
You can you can
pretend to have to cry to just go take a shit. You're like, I'm sorry, this is just too much.
Oh, that's so funny. I thought you were saying the reverse at first. Like you didn't want to show your tears to your therapist. So you're like, oh, I got a shit. But that's so funny. Yeah, I mean, or you could, it depends on how much shame you have. You could just, hey, take the therapy into the bathroom with you. You know what I mean? So now you're shitting and you got your therapist and your fleshlight. I mean, fuck, dude. Talk about heaven.
If it was like one of those like webcam things that has like the coins on the side, like when your therapist gives you good advice, it's like bling,
totally.
bling, bling,
Hell yeah.
bling, 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 bling.
All right. The therapist is like, okay, my top commenter right now is
yeah. All right, I'm gonna give you the real good closure, but we need to get up to $500, Dave. Can we get up to $500? Bling, 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 bling.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you want to be the focus right now, you're gonna have to chip more in. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of cams, but I've seen a couple, and it seems like that.
I just check out the Criterion webcams.
Oh,
I only
me too,
check
dude.
out the finest black and white webcams that are like real, like usually they're from Europe. They're kind of artistic.
Yeah.
With, you know.
My favorite cam girl is Owen Wilson. Yeah. I only the Wes Anderson cam girl channel is the one that I
little miniatures and shit. It's very precise. It's the most centered webcam you've ever seen. That's amazing, dude. He like splays out his anus and it's like perfect symmetry.
Yeah, totally. Everything is all about symmetry. It's just like a mirrored screen, and so like cum shots. You know what I mean? Against a beautifully like just bright purple backdrop.
And you got like the Kinks playing in the background. It's awesome. It's really good music choices. It's hard.
And that's so funny. What's the name of the dude from Rushmore?
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman. Hell yeah, dude. I bet you
Jewish
cams.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Juice.
Tom Juice.
Yeah. That felt wrong.
Yeah. Well, Dave, it's time for the podcast to highlight some real American heroes of the coronavirus.
Oh, man, there's so many, too.
Real American heroes.
Okay. Wow. That was a good song, dude.
Thank you.
Nice.
Heroes of the coronavirus.
Okay, verse 2's not as good, but yeah, I like it.
Hero number 1, Gianna Michaels. And they put like the Medal of Honor around her shoulders, like real heroes of the corona. I want them to give her like a full parade, like Gianna Michaels, ladies and gentlemen. The entire America like stands up and applause or crying.
Dude, it's so funny that like now I'm not going to be able to imagine porn for the rest of this episode without it being Wes Anderson porn. I know it's Gianna Michaels, but it's like Lola, la 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 Lola, and she's just sort of like walking in profile while masturbating.
Man,
walking so by a fucking Magritte painting and just like coming all over the apple in front of that dude's face. You get references.
It's definitely like a an incest-driven porn, because like all his movies are like father children relationships, and that would probably drive the narrative, like it would be like a teen brother getting caught masturbating, and then he's just like, I just don't want you to find out my father's poor. And then like the Rolling Stones kick in. I can't get no satisfaction.
But then, of course, all of the dialogue, the dirty talk, all of the dirty talk between two people is completely stark. It's just two people having sex, and they are, of course, brother and sister. And there's a lot of backstory, and we've seen it all. And they're sleeping together, and they're trying not to get caught by their father, whom they still live with, who is in their 70s, and he is, of course, Bill Murray. And it's Luke Wilson and Gwyneth Paltrow. And while they're having sex, they're like, "Do you like that?" Well, yes, I do.
I suppose anyone would like that.
That's exactly the type of thing a person might like. I thought.
Are you a dirty girl? Is a dirty girl the type of person you would like? Needle in the head. Needle in the head. There's cum on his jaw. Sucking a cock. Bam.
Oh my
Well,
God.
that's like a whole
Of fun.
season's worth of entertainment on one of your SNLs.
Yeah,
That
totally.
sketch we just made.
Hey, Wes Anderson, if you're listening, make a porn, bro. I mean, Royal Tenenbaums is already a sibling porn.
That's like, yeah, man, step it up.
Yeah, dude. Put more cum in your movies.
Be brave.
Be brave and put cum in your movies. So Gianna Michaels is a real American hero of the coronavirus. Why is that, Hampton?
She's getting us all through it. You know, there's a lot of really depressed people out there.
Yeah. Is there?
No,
Oh, really?
you're right. I guess not. Well,
Yeah,
I'm not done with the list. All right, so number 1, Gianna Michaels.
Okay.
Number 2, all the doctors in America.
Dude,
Real American heroes. Gianna Michaels and all the doctors in America. Equal heroes. Equivalent heroes in Hampton's America.
Yeah, man. One of them is stopping you from getting sick, and one of them is stopping you from getting blue balls, which is true sickness. That's the real problem. That's the thing we all have to overcome together. Overcome, you know what I mean? One of my favorite things to see lately is those posts of people that are like, hey, the people that are bagging your groceries, thank them.
Yeah. No, I did that the other day, and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Thank you so much for what you're doing." And he was like, "Okay." Like, he's like, "I work. This is my job." Like,
yeah,
he
totally.
didn't understand. He didn't get the memo. He's a hero. He didn't get the fucking the letter from the president, saying he's
yeah. Well, the memo that you're a hero, like finding out you're a hero, should include a fucking raise.
Yeah, you just shouldn't have to work there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how it should work. He shouldn't have to fucking put his life on the line for a fucking minimum wage.
That's what I'm saying. That's why,
that's like trying to kill someone. That's not like being like, what a hero for surviving that, that a deadly assault on your family. It's like,
okay. Yeah, that's why it's funny to me because like I didn't realize it until I said something either. But I said thank you to someone at a register, and then he didn't say anything. He just looked at me and then kept doing his shit. And immediately I realized, like, this guy, he would be grateful if I gave him $100 or like a fucking ability to not have to fucking work here. It's sort of patronizing. Like, it's cool to feel thankful and be grateful and be nice and try to help. But to be, hey, thank you for doing this thing I refuse to do.
I know. It's like kind of a weird way to make not really you, but I'm saying you, the person, feel better about the situation. It's like, by the way, I just want you to know, I know you're a hero. And I'm like, literally, I don't want to talk to you.
I don't want to fucking hear this.
I don't want to fucking be here. Just say fuck you. Just say fuck you. Because I looked at your cart. I saw the useless shit you got. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're judging you a million times.
Totally. Oh, wow. Fruity Pebbles? We're all going to die. You fucking piece of shit.
Well, I'm glad I could be a hero for your Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah. I hope, man, if I get COVID-19 from your goddamn Cocoa Puffs, I'm going to kill everyone in this Vons.
This is what I'm saying, folks. I don't have solutions. I just like to notice the problems and point at them.
And you just described stand-up comedy.
Y'all ever see this shit? It's fucking
I think
wild.
the real heroes are comedians getting mad on Zoom. You know what I mean?
Bravely pointing out premises that have been said before in the 80s.
Oh, man. We're
bravely.
So now. There's, Dad, you guys ever heard of racism? It's not new to me and it's not new to you, but I still think it's great.
Yeah, well, people could check out your Zoom shows anytime, Dave. Weird promo.
Yeah, I'm the Zoom racist.
The Zoom
racist.com.
There's a paywall for my racism now.
Zoom, where the racism is faster. Oh, man. So let's talk about, well, who's a hero in your life, Hampton? Who's a Hampton hero?
Who's a Hampton hero?
Aside, of course, from Joe Biden.
Chef Boyardee, I mean, he's making all of that pasta for everyone right now. Like, no one's even asked him how he's doing. He's cranking out. Like, I bought so much Chef Boyardee.
Dude,
And like,
next time we see Jeff Boyardee. Hi, I'm Jeff Boyardee.
No. Chef
when you,
Boyardee.
When you call me chef, I look around for my dad. Chef is my dad. I'm Jeff.
Wait, are we serious? This dude, but that's actually a good point. Like, is that dude a chef? Have you tried those recipes? It feels like something like we could make and put in a can. That dude's a chef? Why? Because he added salt and fucking pepper and shit? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
he put marinara and pasta in a can and now he's a chef?
This is a good
restaurant.
Hampton.
Name one fucking restaurant that guy worked at. Name, I want your fucking number. What's your fucking number?
I think he worked at Soup Plantation. And the reason I said that is that Soup Plantation is a fun thing to say.
Dude, it's not as good as my idea for a restaurant. Steakschwitz.
I know.
Yeah.
Soup Plantation is such a fucking crazy name.
I don't think they know about plantations.
Yeah.
Like, is it that big of a goof up? Like they have no idea about like the South, and they're just like, plantation? What? What's that? Huh? Like, no, it's soup. Plantation. Plantation is what we're saying. It's not the plantation part.
Well, you don't.
No, it's soup. Plantation.
There isn't two P's.
There isn't two P's.
Idiot.
What is your fucking problem? You're the problem.
This is the CEO of Soup Plantation.
This is so
what's your problem?
Everyone's like, fucking this guy.
Fucking Jeff Boyardee. Shut up, dude.
Man.
Jeff Boyardee is a lot of fun.
Jesus Christ.
Didn't you say you had a bit about Biden that you wanted to try? Or is this not true?
Yeah, that's so funny, dude, because it's like I want to pitch it as a stand-up joke, but it's also like there's no segue into like pitching a bad joke.
Yeah, right. Oh no.
And it's like this is easily just a joke.
Oh God.
I could never really get away with, but it's like it's actually because the news just came out that it's probably credible, like his sexual assault.
I didn't see that. I'm hearing it from you, but I believe it.
Like, it's kind of like the best guy to get accused of sexual assault, though, because he already like just doesn't remember anything, and like,
oh my God,
you know, he's just like, I don't remember, and then we'll have to be like, that's probably true. Like, he really,
yeah, probably actually doesn't remember.
He doesn't remember his kids' names in conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's kind of the ideal guy. To ruin the Democratic Party for forever.
I know, dude.
This is so fucked. It's so funny.
It is so bizarre how many people. You know what I was thinking, and this is a cockamamie fucking theory. So whatever. What do I know? But I was talking to my parents about it, and they have been Biden people. And also, but my mom is so goddamn liberal. She's been a liberal activist my whole life, like to the point of us getting death threats in different places we lived.
Sorry about those. I didn't mean to. I didn't take that serious.
Right. When I say liberal activist, I mean she just hated Hampton's dad. She was like,
"Real heroes of America."
Yeah, she was just sending Gianna Michaels videos to Hampton's parents.
No.
So, and
Wow,
I sort of realized my mom was a hippie, and she's very, very liberal, and it just. Thinking about them being Biden supporters, I mean, I would imagine they aren't now, but it occurs to me that I think that entire generation, like the baby boomers that we're all yelling at now, I think what happened is like, they were hippies and then they had to grow up. And so they poured all of their liberalism into the Democratic Party. Yeah. While getting jobs and having kids and fucking trying to make money and shit. and so they were like fighting for people's rights inside of the Democrats, and then Bill Clinton was their shining achievement or whatever. And now, without them really realizing it, the Democratic Party is more important to them than liberal ideas themselves. And so they like rejected my parents. What they didn't like about Bernie is that he kept shitting on the Democratic Party for not supporting the working man. And it's like, yeah, well, that's what the Democratic Party used to do, was shit on Republicans for not caring about the working man. And now here we are, we're all fucked. We're in like approaching another extreme depression.
That's a real bold way for your parents to be anti-Semitic. I like the thought process, the loopholes they went through to find a reason to condemn a modern day Jesus Christ.
It's a good point. He is a Jew, and he is
a Jew who wants to who wants to heal everyone. And you don't like him.
Oh wow!
And some might say you're the Romans.
And he does have only 12 supporters, if you know what I'm fucking saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, I really do think that they just like have gotten, the Democratic Party became part of their identity, so they're defending it to the death, not even noticing that they're just like, they just want it to be, they want it to feel the way it felt to them when Clinton was president or when Obama was president. And it's like, bro, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're playing like the same, like, it's about winning, game right now. And it's like, well, you've completely compromised the entire party, because that's absolutely not everybody's prerogative. Is this like, keeping you elected, keeping you, in power isn't the prerogative of people. Like, we're like, is my life worse right now than it was 4 years ago? Right now, yes. Quite literally, yes. And if you can't use this as like a fucking slam dunk, like every problem that Trump has fucking given you on a silver platter, then you're just fucked. If your whole thing is like, he's a bad man and I'm a good guy, it's like, I don't give a shit if you win or lose. Is my life going to be better than it was 4 years ago? Because right now it fucking sucks.
Right.
No, I know.
Also, just so interesting to think, like the shining example of a Democrat is like, even if you remove the assault from it, which you absolutely shouldn't. I mean, we both feel the same. Like, he committed sexual assault. Fuck you. But even if you take that out of the equation, before people had accepted that as a reality about him, he already was like a fucking. He like couldn't remember shit, and he's like sneezing on television. Like, what the fuck is this?
Well, he's also like advocating why billionaires should still exist, and it's just like, guys, let's get. It's kind of like the message was so fucked up for so long that it's no surprise it was at that level at that point. It's like, you should have jumped on this a long time ago when, like, I don't know, a billionaire became president, and like, is doing all this kind of crony shit that, like, we already caught Bush doing a lot of this stuff like previously. It's like, you'd think he would have been so much funny. He's so funny, dude. Dude, Donnie Casino, so good, man. He's like truly like a wrestler, like he gets the game, he gets the theater. But that's the thing, is like, you have to be like, this guy's a clown. And like, literally, remember Biden during that debate when he was like, his like wrap up message, and they're like, what do you stand for? And he was like, beating Donald Trump. It was like, I remember laughing so hard. I was like, what a fucking insane, who, like, other than like personal politics, that is just who's like, oh, well, good, well, my life is going to get better. Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to like get jobs, and actually we're going to make it so you don't have to work 3 jobs, like shit like that. Appeal to people. We're going to make it so that you don't have to make decisions for your elderly being put into, care and stuff. And it's like all the shit that just appeals to the general person. But it's like,
not me, dude. I want more beer. That's dude, I'm going to make it through. Dude, I've been making it through coronavirus being fucking drunk, dude.
There's a guy in Canadian politics. He literally ran on like, I'm gonna make beer $1 again. I'm gonna make it's like, and like he won on the dollar beer thing. He won like all of Ontario, which is the biggest, most powerful province. And he ran on like, you're all gonna get $1 beer.
That's so funny. What?
Which what he means is like the lowest like government, like literally government issued beer will only cost $1. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not stopping like Heineken and Miller from charging whatever they want per can.
He's just saying the government, the Canadian government issues beer?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I think so, actually. I'm being totally serious. Yeah, because I talked to like some relatives about it. I think this is the case, but basically like every liquor store is all
government run.
The government's really much more on liquor and stuff like that.
Right.
And so yeah, I think like generally where people go to buy, you know, cases and cases of beer, like there's
is at the DMV.
You can get like the lowest, and maybe it's like a company that just like is outsourced specifically to the the government or something, you know.
Yeah, Enron.
I swear the highest you're going to pay for Halliburton beer is $1, and it's going to cost a barrel of children's blood from the Middle East.
Oh man, by the way, did you hear that oil stock is plummeting? Do you know this? That's like the craziest piece of news. That's the one where I'm like, it's hard for me to like really think things are going wrong. Maybe because they always feel so wrong, you know? But the fact that they like can't sell oil is like, oh, what?
Well, you know, a big one related to that apparently is that no one's driving. Basically, no one's traveling, so the demand just got cut immediately, and like 80% cut out.
Right.
So it's true, and also like I think Trump did some fucking trade shit to like try and drive down oil prices and everything, because while the people were losing work, the last thing we wanted was like oil to suddenly be like $10 a gallon or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the whole thing's fucking stupid. We've been like stockpiling oil for forever, much more even recently, and we're good. And like this shit's just insane. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, when oil gets down to like cents per barrel, and then I was talking to my family about this. And I'm like, then this just affects so much of us. I know that's good for me not having to pay high gas prices, but I assume this has a cumulative effect.
Yeah.
It's just like another case to be like, we have to get off of oil. Even now that we are that much stockpiled for the end of days for forever and ever, well, then let's get the fuck off of oil dependency. Like, right. This is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's even like in the conversation now because it's so dire as far as stocks go. Like literally, I was just listening to this thing about how they are, I mean, yeah, we've been stockpiling oil, but it wasn't really stockpiling because we needed so much oil. We were trying to replace our dependency on foreign oil with our own oil, which was like going into nature preserves and also fracking. And with those two things, we figured out how to lower our own oil prices by creating enough of our own oil. And now, so we like desperately worked on making that happen, and we did it. But like you said, no one's driving. And so now there just is oil and we don't need it. And people have to get rid of it. And so they are paying people to take it off their hands. And see, here is where it gets dicey because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But I
just
do know that
to buy, dude.
stock and oil is dropping, and that will hurt the economy. And look,
I'm going to feed my children oil tonight. I mean,
feel like we have a mental health podcast, and now we are injecting panic into our listeners' brains. And we don't need to do that. Look, I love you.
Y'all ever get panicked about your oil? Sometimes I look at my oil, I'm like, you're worthless. You are fucking worthless, you barrel of shit.
Yeah, man. My son is a barrel.
My son's a barrel of oil.
We're gonna take a break this week from reading your stories, which we love doing, and we'll be back to next week and it's just because we haven't done a check-in with each other about our mental health in general and in quarantine. So we're gonna do that.
Do something like let's do it. Is it?
Yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
David Ross, have you now or have you ever seen any movies with a communist in them?
Probably every movie I've ever seen.
What, Dave? have you now or have you ever rented a movie from Blockbuster with communists in them?
I would bet that every single movie I've rented from Blockbuster, which is a lot, I miss Blockbuster. I was a Blockbuster man. I hated Hollywood Video. Hated.
Why?
Well, because it was all Hollywood, man.
Okay, that seems like
yeah,
legit.
yeah. It was so
Legit
fucking.
reason.
Ugh.
Yeah,
You know?
it did seem shittier.
It was just
For
all
one-
about looks.
For one, okay, well, I will give it up that Blockbuster just had a better aesthetic. Like it literally, the blue and yellow, like those are the primary colors that make your eyes go like, what? And Hollywood
Yeah.
Video was black and purple.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that
it is gross.
I didn't mean it. I don't think matter of fact, I think I actually did prefer Hollywood Video. I was just being a dumbass. I think
This is good improv where I feed into it and then immediately, yeah, okay, sure.
No, I'm not. I didn't.
You know, if anybody here works at Hollywood Video or worked there,
we're sorry.
just want to say
we're so sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm sorry that I didn't play into the improv, but I was just kidding. I don't know.
But I hate the colors. Like I literally think those are awful colors.
I think that actually, I'm just trying to think of it because it was so fucking long ago. I went to Blockbuster the most. My feeling about Hollywood Video when I was a kid was that was the cool one. And
really? Because it was Hollywood.
Because it was Hollywood, but also because
yeah.
Blockbuster was the only thing, and I moved a lot, and there was always Blockbusters. And then one day, a place called Hollywood Video showed up, and I don't even think I went inside. I was like, whoa, it's different. And so that means it's good.
You're like, wow. And there's like a bin of like DVDs, like $2 for 20 DVDs.
Was it shittier in there? I don't even know if I went into one.
They're exactly the same. They are, right. I'd say they're worse because I don't think they had the money. You know what I mean? So like there's low level differences. Like in the same way Walmart and Kmart are the same store, but Kmart does worse financially. So it's just unclean. There's not enough staff, you know, and they don't take down product quick enough. So it's just gradually getting worse and worse. And that's the thing. Yeah. Man. I was like a vulture. I would go in and I got just so many DVDs, especially towards the end.
When Blockbuster was going out of business, I fucking those racks of like 3 DVDs for $30 or $15.5, whatever. I would just like load up. Man, you know, Alex.
And now I just like stare at my copy of Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, and I just want to put a bullet in my fucking brain. I'm like, man, I can't believe I was like cocky at the time, like. Only $5? What a deal!
And the person behind the counter is like, this fucking sap.
You won't even watch this once to completion.
Do you know Alex Price? He's a comic in Indiana. Yeah, he's really funny. I like that dude a lot. And he worked. I'm gonna fuck the story up, Alex, if you're listening. Sorry, but if he worked at Blockbuster when it was failing, and he has this great story about being in a meeting where they announced that Netflix was gonna try to put them out of business, and apparently everyone in the room lauged. Literally was like, "Oh, sure, whatever, Netflix." And fuck, dude, man, I would have killed to be there.
Fucking man, yeah, me too, dude. Imagine like you could step up and be the employee who just goes, "Hey, why don't we, since we already have everyone's address right now, like who gets a membership to our dumb fucking club?" Like you literally had to get a library card to be like, "Please, can I hold your VHS tapes?"
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're already getting all that information. They could have installed a DVD rental program like mail delivery. Because that's how Netflix started, was just mail delivery. And I remember people being like, well, this will never replace Blockbuster because you got to wait 2-3 days. And it's like, dude, if they just been like, hey, hold a sec. We have like literally a Rolodex of all of America that wants to rent DVDs. We have their address for no good fucking reason.
Yeah.
What if we send them a mailer that's like, tell us what DVDs you want to rent or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they could have literally they could have killed Netflix in 5 seconds and then they would have been the streaming service, you know, whenever the transition.
Isn't it so fun to think about? Like, it's I think cheeseball and kind of an old guy thing to do, but I don't give a shit. It's how old I am. Like, what I'm saying is, I think people who are under 20 right now don't give a fuck about this conversation we're having. But I think it's so much fun to think about the nexus of all that shit. How, like, I remember having a conversation with my mother where she was like, "Have you heard about these guys, Amazon? They're selling books on the internet." And me being like, "Really?"
And you're like, I don't know. The stock's only $5. I better not.
Yeah, they're not selling oil.
Yeah, I don't get it. Invest in firm things like oil. Well, you know, the funny thing is, because I've worked within Netflix, and it's really fucked up. Like, they do actually run it like a tech company, and their big thing is like they won't tell you what the ratings are on stuff. So like they could have a smash hit. Like, say, we have no idea how many people saw Tiger King or whatever that thing that just came out that all of America saw. You're not seeing anything that's like 50 million people all agree Tiger King is. They play it very close to the vest. Right. And so when they were doing the DVD thing, same as Amazon, these tech companies are so smart to be like, it's a terrible idea, but we're going to run it at a loss for like 10 years, no return, and then we'll crush Blockbuster. We'll just kill Blockbuster, and then we'll be Blockbuster. Right. And it's like, Amazon did that to Barnes and Noble, and you know, every mom and pop shop. And it's like, dude, that's what's wild. When they went from books to being like, yeah, now we sell like condoms and bicycles and like.
Totally. Beds.
You
can buy a bed on the internet. It'll be at your house in 2 days. Shipping's free. You're like, what the fuck?
I was looking at like Japanese imports of DS games. I was looking at like cables for my guitar the other day.
You can buy people on there?
Amazon is proud to present its new dark web feature.
Yeah. Amazon.onion. Oh man, that's horrifying.
Dude, Jeffrey Epstein's island just went up for sale on Amazon. This is sweet. And now the fucking best, so this is the best, is Amazon is going to start having stores. They're going to have physical stores.
Shut up. That's crazy.
No, I know. And they literally are going to look like Barnes and Nobles and fucking Borders because they don't know what to do with all this fucking surplus, but put it out and be like, it's cheaper to rent this space and, you know, in malls that are like empty, you know, like, and dude, Netflix, I guarantee you, what if Netflix starts making red boxes or so, you know, like
movie theaters,
their own version of Redbox.
I'll bet you they'll start having fucking movie theaters. That's another weird thing.
That's it. Holy
shit.
Bing.
It drives me crazy. The idea of a Netflix movie now. I'm like, the older I get, the more we move on in the way that media is, I just hate Netflix. Because
really?
Yeah, I mean, I still use it. I mean, I fucking pay for it, and they have some good shit. But I just feel like when they started out, they branded themselves as another HBO, as like, we have high-end content, and that branding still exists. But they stopped making high-end content, except for their fucking documentaries. Their documentaries are great.
And they're sporadic things. But overall, you're right. It's like that no longer goes along with, it's a Netflix series, I should check it out. Like, totally. Now if you said that to people, be like, dude, it's this new Netflix series. Like, everyone's like, fuck, no way am I going to check that out.
They were the new HBO, and now they're the new CBS fucking at best. And
dude, it's the best show. It's on Christian television at 2 a.m. You have to see it. Like, that's the other recommending
thing that they're doing is that they now I think the thing that made me like mad at them is their movies, because I just feel like they did an amazing thing. I feel like it's a true feat that they've accomplished, man, where they took making major budget movies with talented people and turned that into made-for-TV movies. Like, did you see Steven Soderbergh and the Coen brothers and Michael Bay have all made direct-to-Netflix movies, and they all somehow suck.
What's Michael Bay's? That's weird. He's never sucked.
Dude, Michael Bay is great at
Bay's?
making those. It's Spencer Confidential, I think.
No. That looks so fucking bad. That looks so fucking bad.
Hold on, or maybe that's the Steven Soderbergh one.
Okay.
I'm looking this up right now. Spencer Confidential is well, no, that's Peter Berg. Wait, hold on.
It's an accurate call though to say they're like TV movies, because it's like I saw that Brad Pitt movie War Machine that they put out.
Dude, sorry. It's Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds, which no one even saw that movie. And it's so funny. You're right. Like, Michael Bay has a bunch of pop bullshit, but he's good at making that shit. And even they couldn't even make a regular good Michael Bay movie for Netflix. Do they I don't know what they what do they do? I don't understand. Anyway.
Who are these people?
it's not on the net, and it's not even Flix.
Well, I mean, they got Scorsese doing The Irishman, which I think a lot of people think was good. I thought it was boring as fuck, and from an editing standpoint, it's a fine story, and I don't have a problem with the performances. But if you could easily trim an hour off. But then people made a good point that basically Scorsese made a limited series. Like, you should watch it in hour-and-a-half increments. And there's real definitive points where it's stop watching here, hour and a half here.
Yes.
And you get through that thing a lot better. But it's yeah, I don't know. They kind of fucked it up. And then they just, it's weird, man. They don't know what they're doing. And then the ramifications of it are well, you've kind of, you've debased the cost of everything. You've influxed so much money that you've debased everything. When you start paying $60 million for a stand-up special, it then ruins other people just coming up to do a stand-up special.
Right.
Because you've just now changed the game to where it's what's your special? Oh, you shot it for 15 grand? It's bullshit. Good luck trying to get that, but trying to get YouTube to see that shit.
They also suck, though. That's what's
Sure.
You know what? I'm aware that I wish I had the words to articulate this better, because I know that The Irishman is respected. I mean, it was up for Best Picture or whatever. I know that a lot of people liked it, but also I feel like if I could put there's some words to describe this phenomenon, which is it's just worse. That's not the right word.
Well, all I'm saying is they flood it with content. So that became Netflix's thing, is once they started being competitive, their new thing is not exclusive content. It's we make all of the content. If you really look at how much other companies produce, it's even if you just hate all of it, they just have made so much new shit. It's constant, and therefore the quality is really down.
Yeah, but what is that quality thing? You know what I'm saying? What is, I know that even the people that love The Irishman can see this. There's something about it. It's the lighting, or maybe you're right, maybe the length. But it's just there's this weird through line. David Van Huysen, who's a great comic, pointed out to me once. He's I fucking can't watch Amazon shows because they're all lit the same way.
Yeah, they are.
About how these internet companies work, where there's some room somewhere where they're yeah, let's just save money in this specific way that makes all their shit suck. Why the fuck did Ballad of Buster Scruggs suck? It just sucked.
I liked it. I thought it was good, man.
Oh man, but was it as good as other Coen Brothers shit?
Well, definitely better than Intolerable Cruelty, which is their worst
Hampton?
shit ever. I gotta say, man, I literally tried to rewatch Intolerable Cruelty, and I was I can't. We had to stop. But
I found it quite tolerable.
But Ballad of Buster Scruggs, while it's not their best, and No Country for Old Men, or even
exactly.
Raising Arizona is my favorite movie ever made. But so they do the wacky and they do the serious. But Ballad of Buster Scruggs, in the context that I saw it, was a great movie because I saw it with my dad, and we both could enjoy it. It was simple enough and direct enough of here's where it's deep, here's where it's being goofy, that I was solid B-. Like,
Sure.
you know what I mean? Like, I walked
Sure.
away being like, solid B minus. Intolerable cruelty. I'm like, that's a.
I actually never saw Intolerable Cruelty. I believe you. And also, yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst. I enjoyed watching Ballad of Buster Scruggs. You know what I think it is though? Is it's like it's not, my standards are very high with them, and I wonder if like there's just a, because what all those movies have in common is that they just sort of are a little cornball in comparison to their theatrical releases, and I just wonder if there's like an inherent subconscious psychological thing where everyone on set knows they're making something that's just gonna fucking go to Netflix.
Damn, dude. You're kind of making me upset. You're kind of making me upset. I literally, so there's this is happening in comic books as well, where they're actually starting to maybe streamline this a little bit. So there's a great comic writer, Mark Miller. It's not Frank Miller, it's Mark Miller, and he made like Kick-Ass.
Okay.
And he makes all these really great comics, and he kind of struck a deal with Netflix where like he's gonna have his own like channel inside of Netflix producing like he basically writes comics under his own label that's like, it's like Kick-Ass. He owns the rights to it, and he's like, you get Kick-Ass as one show, you get this as one show or whatever. And like so there's a comic he just made that's like, it's called The Magic Order. It's like about wizards fighting. It's really good, but it's like literally on the comic now, it like is branded with Netflix on the side, which I've never seen in comic books before. Like they've never been like, you know, this is ABC or some shit. Damn. You know what I mean? Like it's like this, no, that's a TV company putting its label where like Image Comic should be. And I mean, you're bumming me out because I'm like, fuck, it's like getting more and more streamlined where it's like direct from comic book to now the TV show I'm gonna watch. And it's like Netflix owned every part of that creative process. And I'm like, it's no longer they're discovering stuff. It's all like, it's like in-house. And therefore it makes me think like the writer wrote it to be like, here's how this Netflix series is going to play out. Yeah. Which is fine. But I would say in a lot of times
it takes the heart out of it a little bit.
Yeah. In comics, that would make you take a lot less risks. Yeah. Like the reason Watchmen's so hard to make into a movie is because there's so many fucking risks. There's so many details and things and sub stories that it doesn't really work as A to B to C story. It's like, here's a lot of different things. And that's one of the things I enjoy about comic books. And it's like, oh shit, now everyone's going to be like, okay, so, you know, the hero escapes prison and he's on the run and there's an agent and he's got dark side. You know, like they're just writing the Netflix show and it's like, and he's got a secret. Right. And that's like how they started doing TV a long time ago. Like when Lost came in, they started just doing these big pitches. They're like, okay, the pilot's going to be, you know, like $1 billion. Everyone lives under a dome. The entire town lives under a dome. And it's like, isn't that
a real show that's called Under the
Dome? And it just like doesn't go anywhere. And it's like, because you're trying to write TV through comics. And that's the same as trying to write a song to be a TV show. You know, it's like, it's just not the same thing. And
man, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. Makes me think that I was both right and wrong when I said that thing about everybody on set, because like, it could be that they all know it's like for Netflix, so it's just not as cool to them, but also maybe even more deeply subconscious, the feeling of like, we're not making this to make a big amazing thing. We're making a fucking product for a multinational corporation to make money. You just like know that in the back of your head, even though that's fucked up because you're always at that level making something for a major corporation, but for some reason it's different. And I think because in film, just like the difference between making you know what it is? I like if I think about how it would feel making a cable show versus making a network show, I would be so much more excited on the cable show, even if when it came down to it, everyone working on the network show was more talented and better at what they do, just because there's more heart and soul and energy and freedom. And and also there's all these overlords and all these people watching and rules in the network stuff. And then naturally you watch network TV and it's like a little cheesy, even the best ones.
It's like if you know, it's like, yeah, I want people to also sell out creatively if they want. Like, it's fine for a
Sure.
band to write an ad jingle, but if you kind of if you start changing the business to where like only ad jingles start being #1 hits, then it just creates this ripple effect of like you start losing creativity and stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's just playing this it's weird, man, when they start pumping in money. And that's what they've done time and time again, is they just pump in the money because, and they don't have to prove profit, and they just ruin
Right.
the rest of the business. So like it'll be like it'll be financially irresponsible for you to write a comic book that doesn't work as some sort of TV show. Like
Yeah.
that you know, that would just be
Right.
putting everything
Or
at risk,
action
which is
figures.
already true, but it's like, you know,
Right, but that's funny. Yeah, I
it,
mean, like
it
that
fucks it up
ruined
when everything
fucking
starts
Star
becoming the
Wars.
norm.
I feel like
Yeah.
that phenomenon is exactly what ruined Star Wars. Yeah, like you can watch episode 1 and be like, "Oh, this dude wanted action figures." Like it's obvious. It's fucking obvious that the movie was
Yeah.
designed to sell toys.
Mm.
Yeah, it is weird too to be someone who makes content and wants to make a living at it in this era where it's commodified so much. So it's like on the one hand good that it's possible to make money in a lot of different creative fields. It's like something that a lot of companies are hungry for. But then on the other hand, it's even harder to do exactly what you artistically love
Yeah.
because you have such access to making a little bit of money doing not exactly who you are.
Yeah.
It's really
And
painful.
the thing is like the only things that are interesting to us are things that are like solely like an artistic expression, you know, and
Yeah.
a pure voice of someone is what's like attractive, you know, to follow. And it's like, yeah, it's when everything starts sounding like Coldplay, like you're fucked. You know, like
Totally.
when everything starts becoming, you know, corporate radio, you're fucked.
Yeah. I mean, when it's all yellow,
It's all yellow.
and it
Did you
was
know
all
he
yellow.
literally in an interview was like, he was like, it's yellow because that was just the color I chose. He's
Jesus
just like,
fucking
it
Christ.
didn't matter. It didn't matter. I was just like, it could have been a chair. I just was saying something. It was about the. And I was like,
I
oh,
liked
okay.
it because it sort of rhymes with pillow.
It's like, oh, okay.
See,
Because
what I
there's
was doing was I
not a
was
lot
trying to
there.
write a song, and yellow, numerous words rhyme with it. Mellow and hello.
Hello. Damn.
Pillow, the website Zillow, you know, buy a home and
They're
make it
doing
yellow.
ads for Zillow.
Zillow, paint your
You
house
call
yellow.
Zillow. I saw a house. It was on sale in escrow. It was true. And it was all Zillow. Good. Easy to write song parodies. I challenge you, Weird Al, to a shitty song-a-thon.
What we were just talking about is like a pretty good segue into, I don't know, I'm interested to hear how you're doing mentally, but I'm thinking about career shit a lot. We talked about it a little off mic, but I'm like, one cool thing about quarantine is that it's like highlighting what I like and dislike about my life, my regular life before quarantine. And one of them is yeah, it's weird. It's like I want to make a more stable living making comedy, and I scheme on that a lot. But then every time I'm about to do something in that regard, like I can't even guess what version of what I do would fit me into like say a writer's room for a big show where I would make more stable money. And so I almost every time I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to make my own thing. But if I'm being totally honest, I haven't been completely with the podcasts I am, but, and in stand up, but then in other shit that I make, there's always a part of it that is like, how do you make this appeal to more people? Right. And I will say that one cool thing about quarantine is I think it's removing that from my brain, because I'm just seeing how sad this and how hard this all is. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, dude. I think I'm just okay. For example, I'll give an example. My dream is to have a sketch TV show. I grew up watching sketch on TV. It's my favorite thing. I love making sketch. I have made some, like my old sketch group, Women, the shirt I'm wearing right now.
You make sketches
that was like
on your own. Yeah,
totally. And I make some on my own. Women is a perfect example of us doing whatever the fuck we wanted. And then, but then we did whatever we wanted, and we got attention from, oh, wow, I haven't talked about this in a while, but this is real. We got attention from it, and then that took us into, that's how I got representation. That's how I got agents and managers for the first time. And then they were like, okay, what's your TV show? And we came up, but everyone that we talked to was like, we love your sketches, but we can't make a sketch TV show with you.
Yeah.
People don't want that. You hear that a lot when you go into meetings.
Yeah, it's like, what's the show version of this sketch series you've been doing?
Totally.
That's backwards. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We love your sketches, but no one wants sketch.
And who's the hero? Yeah, who's the lead? Yeah.
How does this relate to the working man or the regular person?
Yeah, try to make any show that just involves 3 main characters. Like no one's the lead that you're really following. That alone is impossible. You know, like they don't want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. And it's so interesting because, like I said, I mean, it's just everything I've ever gotten in my career was because someone liked my sketches or someone liked my stand-up or both. And then I get into the room and they're like, yeah, but do something that isn't either of those things. Mm-hmm. And so that is what I'm talking about. That has driven me to sort of mind my brain for those things that could be me also. Yeah. And now, even like the way I think about sketch, I'm like, how do I package? I've made pilot presentations of sketch shows alone. I've like shot different things with different people to include in those pilot presentations. This is true. I've made like numerous pilot presentations of sketch shows of me trying to make it work. And it never worked. So I never released it or showed anyone. And now I'm just realizing like, dude, I don't know what else. I think, fuck it, man. I think I'm going to make a sketch show where everybody dies, you know, or whatever.
You like just burst into a room with a fucking gun and you're like, here's my new sketch show. It's like the darkest thoughts. I'm Johnny Knoxville. I'm about to shoot everyone in the room challenge.
I think that if I'm really honest with myself, when I feel sad about comedy, it is because it's hard to have a stable living. But it's more so that it's hard to have a stable living and that I'm trying to find a stable living by doing things that aren't entirely me. And I just, fuck that. I don't know, dude. Do I have to do both? Fuck that. And I'll have a job. I don't give a shit. I don't think it's selling out if you still do the things that you love. And so that's why I was comfortable trying to amend what I do to fit into a mold. But like, you know what I mean? I would be in a writer's room for a network TV show. I don't give a shit. That doesn't mean I'm not still me. But fucking...
I don't know, man.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm being serious. It's
really?
Yeah.
I haven't been. I guess you were.
I've been there a couple times. It's pretty... I don't know, man. I mean, like say I worked on... The worst example is Ridiculousness, which is literally making a show that's more popular than Game of Thrones and is doing insane ratings, is so popular, like Make-A-Wish kids are there on set, like this dude is beloved. People are screaming, they cry when they see him, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm seeing myself make a show that is beloved. I don't care for it. I mean, like, I found a way to definitely turn off my brain and enjoy watching YouTube clips. Like any moron can just do that, but I'm literally writing like "ow my balls," jokes.
Right.
And
it's pretty funny.
And so I wouldn't say people are like depressed there, but there is definitely I have given up on my dreams.
Really?
Common mentality that's just commonly talked about. Yeah. It's especially people who work there. It's just like, like I do this. Man, they would like get drunk like all the time, like really trying and they'd like not cry or anything. It's almost like people who don't cry dealing with emotions of just like getting fucked up and being like, you know what you do? That's what I really want to be. That's what I moved here for. And now I work here.
Whoa.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
yeah.
So I've seen that. I've seen other versions where like I've worked on cool shit also. And then like there's, but then that work's very limited. It goes away right away. Any cool job I've had is only like 3-4 weeks and then it's over, you know? And then there'd be writers in there who work all the time in other rooms. And the way they would talk about their lives. And it's like, even if they're cool, like, honestly, there were some people I was like, that dude's the funniest, fucking coolest dude. It was still like, well, if you dig a little bit deeper, he's like a complete wreck. Like, he's a drunk. He would just, you know, couldn't turn stuff in on time, like, because he hated the stuff he worked on. You know what I mean? Like, complete self-saboteur. And I was kind of just seeing how much doing something that you don't genuinely want to do, it's like the money can make you forget about it for a second, but if you stay there long enough, it will not matter. The larger thing will be, I hate my fucking life.
Right.
And it's like, that's why I left, dude. I was like, literally like, I'm miserable here. There were some personal conflicts with some people, but it was like, really, I was like, the problem is I'm writing out my balls jokes and I really want to like see how far I can actually take stand up. In the end, I mean, believe me, I've had the common thoughts of like, oh my God, that show is still literally on air. I'd be a producer there. I'd probably have sold a different show to MTV by now. Like, my life would have been at least secure. And I would have had that steady paycheck the entire time. I probably would have fucking gotten in a lot of stocks and shit. I would have bought oil now. I would have super cheap. You know what I mean? Oil. And I see my friends who stayed there, but they seem pretty sad. They have money, but they're definitely like, I don't like this show, but 20 seasons, like, what am I going to do? Leave? Like, I'm being paid so fucking much at this point. Sure. And it's like, damn, man, I don't know. I guess that was a real like moral quandary I came to, where I was like, I'd already been there 6 seasons. Yeah. And I was like, I could definitely stay, but
you know what's funny is that like, this makes sense. I think that there's a certain, and this is true. Like, I mean, dude, I used to be a person who was like, wait, you sold out? You're a fucking loser, dude.
And we didn't even know what selling out was.
No idea.
No one's even offered me anything to sell. So no one's ever to buy.
NoFX said you weren't supposed to do it. And so I was like, well, it's the worst thing you could do. And so I still have that. It's probably why I'm talking about this way. I still have that in my brain in a lot of ways. It's important to me to stay true to yourself, but also at the same time, I really do think that a lot of that mentality is unhealthy, to the extent that like, I think that half of it is you doing what you love, but then half of it is your own psychology. I think that for a lot of the reasons I don't want to quote sell out is that I feel like the people in the mainstream are my high school bullies, and I don't want to make shit that they like, because that would mean I'd have to put up with them. And that's a pretty crazy thing to admit, but I think it's true. And so,
totally.
And so removing that from the equation, if that's something you're acting on, I think it's healthy to be like, okay, and I noticed myself doing that. I'll write things and then I like won't even examine a certain type of joke because it's too normal or whatever. And I think examining whatever exists in your voice that has mass appeal is good. And that's kind of what I mean is the positive side of that world you were just talking about. That said, though, even that is becoming like, I guess what I was saying about my own personal feelings in quarantine is I'm sort of like, dude, I don't know what life is anymore. I don't even know what this is. I know I'm upset a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I feel like, fuck it all, burn it down. I'm going to make exactly the specific fucking thing my brain completely desires, because I don't know what else to do.
I don't know, Dave. I think the HBO deal's just around the corner. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right. We have literally now more than ever nothing to lose. I mean, it's like, really, like, there's no deals coming. There's no deals. No one's being like, just pitch me your show ideas. Right. Even that, like, it's gone for a while, at least. It has to go Betty by. Well,
It
the
has
rest
to go
of
what?
it's to go Betty bye. While the rest
Okay.
of the world deals with its shit, that little part of like, entertainment and like,
It's Betty bye.
production. It's gotta go Betty
It's
bye.
got to go Betty bye. Yeah, no, I I get it. Yeah,
Dude,
you
there's
got,
stuff I would love to get back out there and yeah, like try and I don't know. I really wish things were back to normal. Ah, man. There's no other way to phrase that. I just wish things were better. Typical
dude,
shit.
I think I was saying this to you off mic. I actually uh it could, depending on how you hear it, not you, but whoever,
Well,
this
I'm
could
not
sound
sure.
so shitty, but I'm actually not, I don't really want it to end. That's true. That's how I've been feeling this
Oh
week.
yeah.
I've been feeling like I don't want quarantine to end. And like, obviously I want it to end. Like I want people to be healthy and shit. No, you're right. I want people
No,
to
no,
die.
no, no, no. I wasn't. I
You're
wasn't
right.
equating that.
You're right.
No, but like you make it, dude. There's such an interesting thing right now that like apparently after all of this, everyone got like money from the government and like going on unemployment. Like I don't know. There was something recently people were posting about how people are earning more during coronavirus than they were in
Oh,
their
wow.
regular lives.
Whoa.
And it's like it's kind of like this massive conversation of like, oh yeah, everyone was working like 3 jobs and like
Yeah.
it was already like an insane position that everyone just convinced themselves was normal for
Yeah.
people to need,
Well, that's what I'm saying is it's like
work
really
themselves to death.
highlighting what's good and bad about life. And the reason I'm having this feeling is like if quarantine were to end tomorrow,
Mhm.
then I would not have my shit together. I would just have all these thoughts in my brain that are like, I'm unhappy. And the more that it goes on, the more I can reflect. And look, it's also pretty insane to be like, look, by the end of quarantine, I'm going to figure it all out.
There's no
That's
excuse. There's really no excuse for you to not figure it out your entire life. I mean, Dave, weren't you imprisoned for a month or two? You clearly should have fixed your entire life after
yeah,
all of
everyone in
that
prison knows
anguish.
what's up.
Yeah, it's like I'm sure everyone's going to come out mentally really awesome out of this. You know what I mean? Like
But
not
I would
knowing
like
if they're going
to,
to live or die for 2 months.
yeah, it's totally a crazy way
It's
to
going to be
feel,
awesome.
but I would like to come out of this and act on what I think is bad about my life.
Yeah, well, damn. The funny thing is that's an active problem for everyone. I mean, not everyone, but like anyone who just wants to address the problems in their life. Like, it's good that you see these things, but that was always, anytime you maybe had recognized this, even if things were just normal and you'd recognize these problems, you'd still want to do the right things to fix them.
Right.
I mean, a big thing that I've been looking up recently is like, ways to kind of help your mental behavior slowly over time is really just like pointing out the behavior that's wrong at first.
Yeah.
It's just acknowledging it and giving it space to be acknowledged. And
Right.
it starts setting up in your brain all this kind of system of like just putting more space between yourself and the decision and the thing,
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's fine to realize there's things wrong with your life for sure. I mean, that's growing.
So
and
now you're
learning.
saying there's things wrong with my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the shirt. It's clothing. It's smell. I can't pick up the smell, but I know it.
We are. If you're watching us on YouTube, you might not know this. We are talking over smell-o-vision.
That I think like the only way I've ever been able to make any sort of progress is at least just acknowledging the problems. And it's always the most painful part because you realize all your flaws.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just if you're living in your flaws for at least a second, which is healthy. I mean, and you're right. You maybe don't know what to do next.
But here's the thing, Hampton. I feel like if I play my cards right, by the end of quarantine, I won't have any flaws. Like at all. I mean, they'll be gone, If I just keep thinking about how sad I am, then one day I'll be perfect.
Yeah, you'll probably be perfect. That's what Jesus did.
Yeah, he was perfect and then he died.
He just said people probably hate me, Probably all the apostles hate me, and that's how I became perfect.
Yeah.
And I use Jesus as my definition of perfection because I'm stupid.
Well, he's so tall.
I honestly should get more into Buddhism and figure out.
Absolutely.
Because so much of that is really based on what the individual, wants to see in themselves as far as perfection and shit like that, which I don't think Jesus ever really, touches on. I think he's a lot of like, you're not so bad. Like that's about as deep as he goes.
Right.
You're probably fine if you listen to me.
I know it tells you a lot about the type of people, the type of places, areas of the world, communities that are Christian and that Christianity took hold in. That like it literally, the whole basis of Christianity is just like, hey, fucking, you're not that bad though.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. Is like, I want to join like a South Korean church so bad. Like, it's like, totally. You're always like, how do South Koreans justify being like, I'm into Jesus Christ? And it's nowhere near, like, that's clearly like white people putting that on you in like recent times, but I think, I don't know, helps them get through the day, I guess.
That's interesting. Well, yeah, that's a tough call because sure, it definitely feels like imperialism, but fucking who knows, man? I don't know. Maybe just like, because the idea of Christianity is fucked up as a system. Like the way that so many people, I'm not saying anything.
There's two popes.
Yeah.
Netflix made a fucking awful movie about there being two popes.
There's two popes, the young pope and the new pope.
Two popes, one cup.
Hell yeah, dude. And it's like a gold cup.
No, I hear you. Christianity is pretty, that's only one I feel safe talking about because I was raised Catholic. And
yeah.
I know
it's fucked up as an organization.
Yeah.
But Jesus as a figure has coming from a great place, right? So like, well, look at how much Christianity has gotten twisted. I would imagine that the same thing happens in Buddhism when it's a system and when it's tied to the
totally
like that.
Well, it was used to basically oppress the Tibetan people.
So maybe that's why South Koreans run to Christianity because they're like, fuck, dude.
That's a good point. Shit.
Yeah.
If you guys are Christians, man, let me tell you, we just had some Buddhists through here. Pieces. They all know Kung Fu. It's disastrous.
For me, it's a hard pick between Christianity and Buddhism because I don't know, do I want a fat god or a tall god? Which it's really big and tall. You got to pick big or tall.
You got to choose Abbott or Costello.
Yeah. Totally. Pinky or the brain.
Laurel or Hardy. I don't Pinky or the brain. Dude, Jesus Christ is Pinky.
Oh, for sure.
Buddha's the brain.
Hey, Buddha.
Yeah. And Xenu's Elmira in the brain. Remember when they did the spinoff?
Oh, totally. So Xenu is Elmira.
Xenu's Elmira, Pinky in the brain. Damn.
How are you, Hampton? I feel like we're wrapping up here, but before we go, I want to know where your head's at.
Deeply suicidal. You guys check out the Patreon at patreon.com/y'allever. You want more amazing, fun content from me and my fun man.
I am your fun man, aren't I?
A little fun man.
Hampton and the fun man.
I don't know, man. I think in general, pretty bad. Like, This is easily the most depressed I've been since, like, when I was most suicidal, like, end of high school, college. And I'll be totally frank, like, it's really steered pretty dark, Like, but I think I'm also a little bit more, like, tuned in to the conspiracy theory news. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I get a little. I'm really trying to watch my intake of like news and just trying to actually separate and focus on like. I guess I call it getting zen. You just want to have your brain kind of off for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm trying more and more to just focus on that. Like I don't want to be happy because then that kind of tends to dip into like sad. Because then I'm like, well, why? I'm happy. Why am I happy? Is because I'm not sad. Not sad. Like, you know, like it's easy to oscillate back and forth. But if you're kind of like turning your brain's car engine off, you know what I mean? That's what I want to do for just a little bit.
You just want to idle.
Yeah, I just want to like, because right now we're all on this really insane journey, like across country in our mental car. Like, you know, you're going to go the entire trip across the United States. You have to pull over every now and then and just like, you know, stretch your legs. You gotta stop. You have to stop intaking all of what's happening around you, because it's just fucking a mile a minute. Literally this morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, there's credible sexual assault allegations against Joe Biden. Cool, great. It's not like anything was riding on this. You know, it's like, cool, great. You know, like you have to, and it's like day to day. I don't even know like how that story's going to play out. But I mean, it's like to check out the news every day is like probably not healthy. And I've been advising both of my parents recently, like, they love to just have the news on all day. And right now that they're both just at home, it's like literally all day watching the news.
Damn.
And I'll be like, you can't watch that shit, man. It's really bad for you. Like, I've brought this up before. And they're like, the funny thing is, to them, that generation, that's like being as informed as possible.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand. I just turn on, you know, Fox News or CNN all day. What do you mean I don't know what's up? And it's like, dude, and then they're like, both my parents are like pretty fucking depressed right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's hard. Like, literally, I was talking to my dad the other day and I was like, just tell him, I'm like, man, it's really hard because I'm really like, there's no hope sort of thing. And then like, he was calling me up to be like, by the way, there's no hope. And I also don't know. And I was like, man, I know, I hear you, but I'm just not in a good zone right now. Like, all I'm going to do is be like, I know. And we just have like an hour-long conversation with me being like, I know, man. Yeah, this is really bad, you know?
Man.
So I think my thing is I have to detach a little. And that's, it's like, I know things are bad. And as I'm saying before with you, it's like, you know, if I acknowledge these behaviors and I can just do that, then I can work my way around them. Like, I'm never going to be an anxiety-free person as long as I currently don't take any anxiety medication or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can do is like live my life with that knowledge and work around it, you know, and try and make everybody else more anxious so I seem like the reasonable one.
Totally.
I think that's actually kind of secretly what I try to do. Like, I often am always like, have you heard the most fucked up news? Like, I'm always trying to like bum people out. That way they'll be like, actually, it's totally fine.
Right.
That's the thing, is I love being proven wrong or changing my mind. Like, at first, when I was talking to my older brother about coronavirus, I was like, oh, this is all going to breeze over, dude. And like, the flu kills, you know, flu kills more people. Like I said,
that guy too.
I was on the phone though, just to hit, and he was like, no, like, shut up. And
man, that's interesting. Detaching is how you're coping with it.
I think it's healthy.
I think that if you experience extreme emotional highs and lows, I think like managing your own emotions, that's what you're talking about. You're like, managing your emotions. I think that's good.
It's kind of like no one can not get mad right now or anxious or depressed. Like, so it's more just managing those levels.
Trying not to feel it as hard as you could. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. It's like, it's totally reasonable to be anxious because you don't know what's happening. It's totally reasonable to be depressed because work is in question. And it's like, all these things are totally normal. And the same way if this was just happening in your personal life. But you do have to also like go, okay, this thing is making me crazy anxious and sad and depressed. And I'm going to stop touching that like aching tooth. I'm going to stop touching the thing that like, ow, like I just want to touch the thing that hurts.
Yeah.
Like, you got to stop, dude.
Right. Totally. That's great. I mean, it's not great that you're going through it, but it's like a great metaphor. And I think a lot of people do that.
I think the
They know
advantage
they have a
is,
problem and they keep poking it.
I think the advantage is having been through pretty bad suicidal depression,
Yeah.
that I know what it feels like as I'm going through it,
Right.
and go, okay, this is what it is. Now let's, you know, let's live, because I got a dog and a wife, and
Yeah.
I got some responsibilities here, you
Yeah.
know?
Also, yeah, the between living and not living, living is a far better choice, you know? If you're not alive, then how can you be suicidal? You can't think about killing yourself if you're dead.
It'd be kind of dope to like shoot myself in the head, and I leave a note for Georgia to read that just says, "You never clean."
Oh,
I'm just like, clean up this mess.
oh wow, dude.
The most, and the sad thing is, she is better at cleaning. I just think it'd be funny to be that petty.
It would be
Like, I'm even in the wrong. She'd be like, "What the fuck? I did the dishes."
or like you don't even leave a note. There's just a business card for topless maids.
Call them. I know
The topless maids will clean up my death.
It's going to be too hard to clean me up. I know you're going to want to have some topless maids come through.
You're gonna want a little entertainment while your husband's getting washed off the ground. Damn, this got real dark. Man, well, I'm glad we caught up. And it's funny, like just as we said at the beginning, we're not professionals, so we can't offer solutions to problems. But I do hope that listening to us share helps and helps your brain get into the right place about whatever you're going through. It's hard right now. And also to sort of repeat what we just said, do stay alive. Suicidal feelings are natural, and if you have depression, it will happen. But even though this is pretty dire and dark, we will get through it, and you're okay. We love you,
Yeah, exactly. I think it's like it's natural, and I hope maybe you understand my point of view of like, recognizing it and therefore getting through it.
Yeah, seeing the
It'd be crazy if like you're sad right now. Why, dude? I'm playing video games all the time. Like I'm just ignoring the reality of like how sad I am. Yeah. What? You guys are fucking watching Gianna Michaels videos? Coming up with dumb bits for your podcast? That's what I'm doing.
I'm trying to think of in what we just talked about, between what you said about managing your emotions and about what I said about fixing my whole life. What's a good y'all ever prompt for our listeners next week? Y'all ever feel? Y'all ever feelings? What's y'all's feelings?
Okay, actually, I do think this is a good one. Like, y'all ever feel like you don't want the quarantine to end? And that's fine for good feelings or bad ones. I'm actually fine if you want to tell us what stuff you're doing to like, zone out. I'm pretty bad at like just zoning out with games and comics. I'm trying to get back there to just enjoying stuff. But if you have stuff you want to share with us, please. And also if you have the other end.
Totally. That's a good one. Y'all ever not want quarantine to end for whatever reason? That's cool, man. I like that one. Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to finally, see all those abusive people in my life again.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just like, man, dude, I'll tell you one positive of me in the last week. I've been like wanting another massive world video game to play. And I did a bunch of research, and I decided to buy Final Fantasy 9 because I have a Switch. So 7 is the like old version. And
Final Fantasy 9 is the German version of Final Fantasy. No,
exactly.
No.
100%.
No more fantasies. You will not have a Final Fantasy. There will be no more fantasies.
And it's good. And I'll tell you what, man, I definitely don't want quarantine to end before I beat that game.
The most selfish reason possible. No, I don't want to. Wait. Oh, shit.
I'll be down in a minute.
I'm beating Sephiroth's brother.
Sephiroth. Wow, that's a good
girlfriend, dude.
Thank you guys so much for listening. The email is y'alleveremail@gmail.com. We don't really get a lot of voicemails, but if you have a voicemail, that would be dope. It's 802-43-BUTTS. And our Patreon is patreon.com/y'allever. We are going to be reading a listener email over there on our bonus episode this week.
Yeah, it's once a week, and it's a real easy way to support the podcast. We know it's kind of a financial strain on a lot of people, but for $5 a month, less than the cost of a Wendy's combo once a month, less than a car.
It costs less than a Hyundai Elantra.
Once a month, you can support us in a very pure and cool way, and we really enjoy that. So patreon.com/y'allever.
Yeah, and you guys are the best. You're the best audience fucking ever. We love you so dearly. We're glad you're alive. We'll see you next week.
Glad you're alive, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.